right, welcome to yet another fabulous Sunday night news and nonsense, your special holiday report. How you doing, Toss?
Hey, I heard you did a special thing last night on the next sequel to the Terminator movie, The Rise of SteamOS. Like, is that a new Terminator robot?
I believe so, yeah. It's got all of its power from Skynet and everything. Absolutely. No, SteamOS, yeah, it's looking pretty promising as a gaming console, but the thing is, I'm going to be giving this a little bit of coverage in terms of the desktop. So this week, look out for my installing SteamOS tutorials, and I'll also show you later on how to add the Debian repository so you can add packages to it as well. And so not only having a gaming console in the living room, you can also bring your work to the living room. How cool is that?
It sounds promising.
Yeah, you know, for a beta, it seems pretty good. So, yeah, good stuff, history in the making, so definitely keep your eyes out for that. And, Toss, your favorite song is about ready to come up.
Excuse me?
NSA, everybody loves the NSA.
This is what I have to put up with, folks, every week after.
Well, this one's hot from the Washington Post. By cracking cell phone code, NSA has capacity for decoding private conversations. The cell phone encryption technology used most widely across the world can be easily defeated by the NSA. An internal document shows, giving the agency the means to decode most of the billions of calls and texts that travel over public airways every day. Well, this is not surprising. We've known this already.
This has gotten to the point where if it ever got to the point where there was no spying going on, then there would be something wrong with this country.
Yeah. And I found another report here on PC World about your favorite OS, Toss.
Oh.
And or your second favorite. I know you're a dual booter, but it looks like, and this is a possibility, this is not a definite, but the article is titled, Why Microsoft Might Give Windows RT and Windows Phone Away for Free. With Microsoft feeling the squeeze between low-end Android devices and Apple's high-end dominance, the company may be pondering desperate measures. According to The Verge, Microsoft is considering whether to nix licensing fees for Windows Phone and Windows RT, allowing phone, tablet, and PC makers to use the operating systems for free. The report is unconfirmed, but, if true, would be a big shift in approach for Microsoft, which makes much of its money from OS licensing.
I'm looking at my notes here, but I don't know where Microsoft is going to go with this. They've had a bunch of, shall I say, mishaps over the last couple of years with Windows 8 and coming too late with the Windows smartphone, even though it doesn't look that bad. Now this you're mentioning, Spatry, I really don't know where this is going to lead them.
Well, the thing is, it could get them to sell more devices because, as we know, Android devices have a reasonable price because really, as far as I know, we're not paying a Microsoft tax for them. So this could probably give them an edge in the market if they were to do this, but ending up, not making the money from the licensing fees. However, they can reap another end benefit of this in that they would be able to generate revenues from their app stores.
That sounds reasonable. I guess we can go with that.
Okay, and some more news in the Linux world. Activision, the gaming company, Activision, is preventing a game from coming to Linux. And this is from the Phronix website. A game studio has shared publicly that Activision is preventing a new game from actively being made for Linux. Gabriel Knight, The Sins of the Fathers, was a 1993 adventure game out of Sierra Online and was popular back in the day. I remember playing that game. As a matter of fact, I think Tim Curry did the voice of Gabriel Knight in that one. And I remember it was like a nice little point-and-click adventure game and that sort of thing. That's what Sierra was well known for back in the day. And initially, there was a message stating that it was going to be available on all popular platforms with the inclusion of Linux. However, there was a post on a forum from Weldon Hathaway, and he wrote, figured this deserved its own thread. I hate to be the bearer of bad news here, but my previous statement that Gabriel Knight would be available on Linux turns out to be incorrect. I can't even begin to imagine why, but Activision isn't allowing the game to be made for the Linux platform. Just PC, Mac, Android, and iOS devices. So boycott Activision, everybody.
I wonder if there was an agreement, but then something happened behind the scenes. I don't know. Something doesn't sound right here.
Yeah, I kind of have the feeling. You've got a news article, don't you?
I actually have two. Then the final one. This is. I was just jotting up my notes, but this one is off topic. The country of Uruguay, Spatry, legalizes marijuana. The first country to do so. But apparently there are.
Yep, everybody in their government's getting high on tokum smokum, ain't they?
Yes. Now there are limits to this. Apparently, oh God, there's so much smoke around here. Excuse me. Oh, the smoke. Oh shoot, we're live.
Toss, you're not token on any of that tokum schmokum, are you?
I was choking because my Cowboys blew a 23-point lead, but it had nothing to do with joints.
Oh, good. You never know.
Please. Anyway, yeah, that's the first country in the world. So I guess congratulations, Uruguay. I'm not sure.
All right. Goodbye, Windows XP. Hello, Linux? Question mark. As many of you may know, Windows XP reaches its end of life in April of 2014. And this means, well, are you going to switch over to a newer Windows operating system? Obviously, with Windows 8.1, Microsoft making concessions to make an attempt to give Windows a familiar user interface, or do you switch to Linux? Well, I can tell you this. I'll be doing some focusing on my show, some operating systems that you can use as an alternative to Windows XP. And I know 1/3 of people who are using Windows right now, according to this document that I'm reading here on Linux Insider, they're saying 1/3 of Windows users are still using Windows XP.
Well, I have to give credit to Microsoft. This was created back 2000, 2001. It's great if you have older computers, as long as it's updated, which won't last past next year. It gets the job done. It's easy to use. It's certainly easier, I think, than the newer one. But people are going to have to realize that, technology moves on and they will have to move on. But I mean, as far as I don't use it anymore. I got so used to Windows 7. But I can certainly understand why some people, maybe even some companies, like Windows XP, because it is easy to use.
Yeah, and Toss today and I both have tutorials for the newcomers. We've covered all kinds of stuff. We've covered Zorin OS. We've covered Linux Mint. Linux Lite is a great replacement for Windows XP, and there are a bunch of others out there that you could give a try and still keep that older hardware without having to upgrade.
Exactly. Sure. There are plenty of choices, alternatives, if you would like to switch, or even dual boot like myself. Of course, we've talked about the Ubuntu. We recommend sticking with the LTSs, Ubuntu, Linux Mint, and Zorin are 3 fine alternatives, among others, of course. But those are good alternatives to what you are using now.
Yeah, and it does stand to reason, if anybody is still using a computer that shipped with Windows XP, obviously they're not avid gamers. They're probably users that are, everyday users that are just using the computer for email, maybe keeping in touch with family and friends, and Linux would be a great replacement for those systems.
I would have to say so, yeah.
Right, what you got, Toss?
All right, before I go to the Steam OS thing at the end, this was an article a few months ago, and I think I forgot to mention this, but a Jaguar melted. I'm talking about the car, not the animal. Yeah. Now, how does a Jaguar? Apparently, I think this may have been in the UK. I can't remember, but it was so bizarre. This Jaguar had been parked next to this new type of high-tech, high-rise building, apparently with reflective mirrors or reflective glass to keep the heat out of the building. Well, I guess the stars and the angle were in alignment because the reflection of the building went down to the car and it melted, which of course brings the saying, if you can't take the heat, buy a Chevy.
Oh, goodness gracious.
Jaguar, I like the look of your cars, but I guess it can't take the heat. I don't know.
I guess not, but I guess you're going to have to they're going to have to put a red zone or something like that on the ground. Don't park here.
Wait. I see a Jaguar commercial. The hottest car on the planet. Oh, but no.
Well, Toss, before we get into the nonsense, and I know it's probably going to be a doozy here.
Not really.
Christmas is coming, the goose is getting fat. Please put a penny in the old man's hat.
Oh, okay, yeah, I know.
The Linux Journal has some of the coolest gifts for 2013.
And the first one on the list is Wi-Fi hotspot and 2 gig USB combination cufflinks. So if anybody on your shopping list likes to dress stylishly, they can now get these cufflinks, and these little USB things come out, one for Wi-Fi and one with a 2 gig storage that you can use. You could, get your inner James Bond on and plug these USB devices, all for the grand total of $250.
Okay.
And, well, here's something a little bit more practical for those of you who like to take apart cell phones or other small electronic devices. There's now a magnetic project mat that you could give and make an excellent stocking stuffer, available for $12.95 at Adafruit.com.
Okay, sounds good.
And of course, for some reason, I don't know what's up with all these quadcopters we're seeing, but apparently the Helimax 1SQ VCam RTF quadcopter is available at the shiny price of $179. So now you can fly this copter around. It's got a camera equipped, and like that nonsense report we had last weekend, you can do a film footage, this copter flying around, get aerial views and that sort of thing.
Oh yeah, when that bird borrowed the high def cam, yeah.
And then of course for $59.99 you can get a quadcopter about the size of they got this next to a quarter, and so this is a tiny little quadcopter that you can get that will fly around and that sort of thing. Great for the kid and all of us. Okay, and of course the Raspberry Pi starter pack for $104.95 comes with every accessory that you would need to get it going. So good for those of you who have little techies on the gift list there that like to toy around with Linux. Nice little microcomputer and yada yada yada. And they have a bunch of other little things here, so definitely check out linuxjournal.com. They have a list of 12 items for the holiday shopper and the geek in you that you're shopping for.
Well, the holidays are here. Christmas is just around the corner. If you celebrate that kind of holiday, are you going to buy yourself something special this year?
I'm going to give myself the same thing I gave myself last year.
A gallon of coffee?
Close your eyes. What do you see?
Knock, knock.
Yeah, I'll probably be getting 20 pounds of Cafe Botello Espresso. I'll tell you what, the way I brew this stuff, Toss, 1 cup makes you feel like you just consumed a whole pot of coffee. This stuff is potent stuff.
I'm sorry, I still got a little smoke around here. Excuse me.
Hey, would you like a Twinkie to go with that cotton mouth?
Sure, why not?
All right.
Well,
here it comes, folks.
Well, this is an observation. I did catch your Zoo Crew last night on Steam OS and the future of gaming and all that. Well, Spatry, I didn't think your show was that boring, but if you insist, it sucked. Yeah, it was boring. No, I'm just...
Well, geez. I don't know whether to say thank you or the hell will you.
Hey, you started this. And I saw Quid's up little rant. I guess he had a problem installing it.
Yeah, and he explained that before the show started. He was talking about what had happened and that sort of thing. So yeah, not too thrilling to say the least.
Well, these are my quick observations about this. Now, I believe the Steam box is coming out in a few months, correct?
It is, and it's already shipped out to the 300 lucky people who will be getting them. And then, of course, they released the OS, and yeah, right, good stuff.
All right. Well, these are my marketing observations where I think in the short term, it's not going to go anywhere. But this is how I see it. For a gaming console like the Steam Box to succeed. Now, I'm not talking about the specs because I believe it's going to run faster than the PlayStation 4 or Xbox, and it has a monster of a processor and all that. Putting that aside, there are three things for this thing to succeed. Number one, it has to have an attractive price point. It does not. It's $500. That's $100 more than the PlayStation 4, and it's priced the same as an Xbox One. So they want to charge $500 for a technology for something that is yet unproven. That's how I see it in terms of mass marketing, putting aside the specs, which I believe are awesome. Number two, it needs to work out of the box the first time. No surprises with drivers or, bugs or this and that. Now, what are the chances of that happening? That it works perfectly out of the box? Honestly, I don't know. Number three, it needs to have a signature game before launch, kind of like Halo. When Microsoft had the Halo game ready to go at launch or before launch, it doesn't have that. So for Linux people like us who are more into this, well, I don't play a lot of PC games, but for the Linux folks, this is terrific news. But to selling it en masse, because of those three things, as I see it, and I could be wrong, I don't think it's going to go anywhere in the short term. A year from now, 2, 3, 4, 5 years, I don't know. But in the short term, I hate to say it, but I think it's going to go nowhere.
I can tell you what, I've already seen that that its compositor is already available in the Arch user repository, and in the coming days, I probably will be seeing. We'll probably be seeing some of these contributions that Steam has made to the Linux community being used across multiple distributions. And you're right, I do have to agree with you on your points that you made. They're definitely going to need a AAA title on this, and possibly even include it free when you buy the unit, because this is how they're, getting sales. I think I remember when, didn't they give a free game with the Xbox when you purchased that?
I don't think it was Halo though, but I think in some of the bundles they may have been a game with it. Maybe not necessarily a signature game, but I think even with the new one there may be something in, or maybe a free download possibly. But sometimes, yes, they will give you something free.
Yes, because I used to go to GameStop all the time for purchasing my PC games. That was back in the day when they had PC games, and whenever I pass them in the mall, they always have, buy this game console and get this game free, so I'd imagine that they'd have to be doing something like this, to make the sale.
Yeah, they should add like a freebie, but it's when I predicted that the Ubuntu Touch phone would fail. I did not want it to fail. I want alternatives. I want choices. I don't want to be stuck with Windows all the time, even though I dual boot, but I like having cooler stuff. Now, we talked about why I failed, but it's something like this, because if SteamOS is going to succeed on a desktop or for mom and pop households, you have to get it out to the masses. And what's the one thing that should be very popular with the masses and their kids? Games. Everybody likes to play games, whether it's children's games or non-children's games. You need that signature awesome title. If I was marketing before launch, not during or after, Spatry, it's too late. It's too late. But I could be wrong, but history tends to repeat itself, unfortunately. And without that awesome game where word of mouth could spread like us, like kids say, Mom and Dad, I want the new Schmalo game by SteamOS. Their parents are going to buy because they want the kids to shut up. But it doesn't have that. So in the short run, I don't think it's going to do that well.
Well, right now, I believe this is just being sent out to 300 testers as a beta. So by the time this does hit the market, I imagine they will have to have that in order to really be successful at this. So, it's still early in the game, but at least, I had an opportunity to install it in a virtual box and play with it a little bit. I've got some videos that will be coming up, and, so it looks promising. And I still say full steam ahead. Well, that's all I got, Toss. How about you?
That's it. This may be the last one of the year, before the end of the year. Happy holidays to everybody, to you. Thanks, Spatry, and everybody here in the listening room, to all of my podcast friends for another fun year doing this. This is, for me, this is what Linux is all about, is meeting people, trying different things, learning new things. So absolutely. Thank you. And, and of course, thanks to everybody.
Yeah, we always appreciate all of you for coming in and joining us. And Toss, we'll definitely have to get together and do the year in Linux 2013. We'll have to schedule that maybe sometime in January. So that's something you guys can keep your eyes open for. We should have a podcast up on that, and I'll even set that up as an event on my G Plus channel so everybody knows about it and they can come in and join us live. All right. Well, thank you, Toss, and thank you, everybody, once again. And we will catch you sometime in your Linux future.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Today's show was brought to you by the Linux Distro Community. Visit us today at linuxdistrocommunity.com and chat with us on Mumble or in IRC on the Freenode network in the Linux Distro Community channel. The Linux Distro Community. Freedom through the sharing of knowledge.